Grab a seat, order your drink, and welcome to the brightest center in the galaxy for all things Star Wars Expanded Universe. And whatever else may blow in the door. You're listening to the Callum's Cantina podcast, and I'm your host, Callum. No matter if you're a seasoned bounty hunter of lore, or just looking for a good story, you've stumbled into the right cantina. Today, we're turning to the topic where we've started this podcast, what I call the Essential Expanded Universe Collection. We're talking those core tales, the legendary sagas that every EU fan needs to experience in order to understand the main events of each era. So pull up a chair and let's unravel the legends. So for anyone just joining in this part 2 of the Essential Expanded Universe Collection topic and hasn't watched part 1, firstly, I highly recommend that. But as this is a discussion that was a long one, I've broken it up into the separate episodes, and we had finished discussing up to the Old Republic era this last time. And now, in this episode, we're going to be discussing from the Rise of the Empire era. This is a discussion that I broke up for time between the different episodes. So, for context, that's why we're jumping right into it. So let's do that right now.
So the next thing I have is Darth Plagueis because timeline-wise, I do have stuff that was published beforehand that takes place during it and after.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I just have Darth Plagueis because of when it starts.
The start of the Republic comic run starts before Darth Plagueis.
It does.
Because it was originally titled Star Wars, and then they changed the title to Republic, and that's where you get like Prelude to Rebellion and a bunch of other things.
Well, okay, but the thing is that Darth Plagueis starts while Palpatine is 17.
Okay,
Or actually, I think he's actually 15 at the very beginning, but we don't meet him until he's 17.
Right.
Yeah, that's why I'm like, are you sure?
That again to check when it's
because I don't think any of the comics start that early.
Well,
the 1998 comics line, I don't think it started until.
Ki-Adi-Mundi is a very young man. Like, he is a young Jedi, and
that is true. That is true. He is young. So I think there's a bit of an overlap timeline wise there. Yes, there is, because I know. Because they do reference one of the events that happens with Ki-Adi-Mundi in Darth Plagueis. Mm-hmm. So I would imagine maybe it does start a little bit before, because again, Plagueis is a full-grown adult, about 100 years old. So
yeah, I have Acts of War beforehand as well.
Okay.
Yeah, see, Acts of War. Well, see, the problem essentially is that the Plagueis novel covers such a massive period of time.
Yeah.
Because
it does cover a chunk.
Yeah,
it covers a big chunk.
Acts of War would happen during the Plagueis novel, but that's only because the Plagueis novel has such a wide arc.
Yeah.
So Acts of War is prior to
in that middle area place, probably so you can understand what Plagueis was referencing.
So it'd be prior to the bulk of the novel. But still during the
So that is kind of the funky place. Is like where does the Star Wars comic timeline begin? I don't know why I have that listed after the Phantom Menace. That was supposed to go much earlier.
Oh yeah,
I'm like, wait a minute.
I think
these comics started well before.
I chucked it up the top of my lists for the era because generally you get a through line of comics through the next few eras anyway. That's like the one comic run you're looking at through it.
But there's even the young reader stuff. Like, I mean, you could almost mount an argument for Jedi Apprentice for the same reasons, that it gives such a good overview of the Jedi Order prior to Episode 1 to where their mindset was at, how they were operating, how the galaxy was operating, how the Republic even operated, like in terms of being a quasi-security force, but using the Jedi for all their dirty... Yeah, the Jedi are the ones they send out to settle entire planetary disputes, which does seem unwise in some ways. But Yeah, so
Right.
that series is great, but again, you'd be remiss to put a young readers series in an essentials collection. But
I don't know. I consider that to be essential. To be honest, I have the Jedi Apprentice series listed. I also have the Jedi Quest series,
yeah,
which I've never read the Jedi Quest series, and I consider that essential. So that tells you a lot about how I view it.
Hold on a minute.
All right then.
Hold on a minute.
what's the one? I've had a brain fart. What's the one where Dooku's really young? Like there's like when
That is one novel.
Yeah, it's there-ish. But yeah, there's that one as well, which would be really hard to place in a timeline because it is such a broad.
Doesn't it cover like 3 periods of time?
Yeah, like Dooku is an apprentice and it ends up with Anakin as an apprentice. Like it's just such a large slap of timeline.
Yeah, like that. Like I would consider the Dooku the Dooku focused part of that. I would consider that essential in itself because you really get a sense of who Dooku was as a Jedi. Like the only other time you really see Dooku as a Jedi is in Darth Plagueis, and that you only get a little bit of.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. But then
what do you reckon, Cam?
So yeah.
Plagueis, I agree. Because it gives you the whole backstory of episode 1 and really like makes episode 1 not suck.
That's what Cloak of Deception is supposed to do.
Yes, my next one is Cloak of Deception.
It's a really good read.
Deception. It expands basically everything with that to make it not suck. Yeah. I mean,
and it embeds the framing in the EU for going into Phantom Menace as well.
Yeah,
I have no idea why I put. For some bizarre reason, I put Mall Lockdown, and I'm removing it right now. I'm like, why is this in here?
Yeah, no, that's not essential at all.
No, it really isn't.
It's really good.
Really
but
good
it's not
book.
essential.
Yeah, I'm like, why is this one in here? No, Darth Maul Shadowhunter I do consider essential. That one I do consider essential. I could definitely understand why why some wouldn't consider it essential, but I do consider that one essential because you do get a bit of who Maul is in that story, and that's something that I feel that everything else unless you're going to use the Darth Maul comics, I don't know. At the very least, it should be one of those.
The problem is those comics are so heavily entwined because where the original Darth Maul 4-part comic finishes is where this novel starts, where Shadowhunter starts. So you've already got that really, really tight little knit. But I think the other thing that for me, and I guess I just saw, but in terms of why it'd be essential, is a great way of highlighting how the Sith operated, but being clandestine, because that probably doesn't make an awful lot of sense. How do you stay a strong political mover for 2,000 years or 1,000 years, without showing yourself?
Right.
And it really does, like they're absolutely operating to the point where there's, first of all, leave no witnesses. That's a good way to do it.
Right.
But also the fact that Palpatine is hiding there because that to me was always the biggest twist at the end. Obviously, when he's got the evidence, he can go up and say, "Oh, there's a senator. I can trust him. Senator, you need to see this." And Palpatine's like, "Oh, it's just how the Sith managed to stay hidden for so long." It does highlight that in a great way, like how they remained an immense power in the galaxy despite no one knowing about them.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Well, it does highlight that very well. And I love, I did Darth Plagueis before I read Shadowhunter, and Shadowhunter cleared up so much confusion.
Yeah.
For me, I was so confused as to the references being made to Shadowhunter. I was so lost on what was actually happening. After reading it, I was like, oh, this explains everything.
Yep.
And I get it now. And Cloak of Deception, Cloak of Deception, I had I had an abridged. I got the abridged audio book. I still need to get the unabridged actual book. But I have that in here as well because you get a real sense of the hit, like what was going on in in the political sphere.
The geopolitics of the prequels of the Phantom Menace, so that way the whole like Trade Federation taxing Naboo, putting up a blockade shit makes sense.
Yeah.
Because you watch
and Shadowhunter also builds on that a
Yeah.
little.
Which that, by the way, obviously is just speaks to how well written these novels are. They actually make sense of whatever was going on in episode 1. So that's nice. But that, when you were saying with Plagueis how it didn't make sense to you entirely until you read Shadowhunter, does speak to what I was saying. I think the very, very beginning of this when we started recording was that Plagueis is one of those novels that, although it is incredibly essential, I don't know if that's where I'd ever tell someone to start, because it is such an amalgamation of everything else that's come before. But the true value and the true joy is because you've read Shadowhunter, you've read the 4-part comic, you've read the Jedi Apprentice series, you've read the Star Wars Adventures. They even get references. A couple of books that center around more from Jedi Adventures. And the same thing, the fact that all of these just get into one big blob of a novel and it's so expertly written is it's essential, but don't start there.
Right.
Yeah.
and
it even tries to retcon TCW. So like
it does. It does. It tried very hard. It was probably the best aspect of it that I could find in relation to using TCW, and it still didn't do a good job.
Yeah.
Well,
because
it was
nothing
in that
can.
tight point. No, but it was just backed into that tight spot where it's like, well,
right.
TCW is a part of the law now. We have to actually use what was established there, but at the same time, what was established there is absolute hot garbage. So I need to somehow mention it by pushing it. And it did a good a job as it could possibly do under the circumstances.
Doing what it did best is try to do the best it can with incorporating everything that came out.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I did notice, Cal, that I did also include the Republic comics. I just missed them whenever I was looking through here.
Oh yeah, that's
because
the exact start point too, and if it's all over the place,
and I'm saying the Republic comics is a whole run because it
the entirety of the run, as far as I'm concerned,
before the prequels to freaking like Dark Times or something like that.
Pretty much, yeah. I do have that broken down a little bit by era or by like period.
Empire and
because like I even included the Star Wars Jedi one shots.
I did note when it was changing to Rebellion and Empire and that, because technically they're different runs because they're called something different.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. See, I didn't include like Empire and Rebellion comics. I cut it at wherever the series quits being called Republic.
Because while they're still building off of the original stuff, they're different. They're very different.
Yeah.
Going back to some of these just before Phantom Menace, Jedi Apprentice I agree with a fair bit because it gives you a lot of how the Jedi work at the time and that.
Right.
Then you also get the brilliant story of Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan. Darth Maul Shadowhunter I put in as its own novel because, yes, obviously the comic and that's great, but then it's like, where do you stop?
Right.
And then Cloak of Deception is just helping with being able to understand so much there and how the EU approach
you really do need it.
I would also put forward you need the prequel novelizations.
Yeah.
Because
you do need the prequel novelizations.
Are the superior version of those stories.
Well, certainly the episode 3 one is. I mean, I'd say they all are.
Yeah.
But the episode 3 novelization is, for me,
I consider the episode 2 novelization the most essential.
I was reading Star Wars Insider
too
as
many
well, and
parts
said about
were cut
Terry
from the
Brooks
movie.
Talking to George and including so much that George wanted as well into that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the biggest mistake that George made, aside from cutting. We'll get to that discussion when we get to episode 2. Let's look at episode 1 first.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would say the episode 1 novelization is very important. I would say that's very essential because if you are not reading that, like, why are you reading Star Wars? Like, if you're not reading the movie novelizations, why are you reading?
I'm gonna put an asterisk here. You don't need to read the original trilogy ones. Don't read those. They're bad.
Yeah, I don't recommend them because there's too much that's contradictory.
Yeah, they were based off of earlier versions of the script,
even to the movies themselves.
Well at all.
Yeah.
Although when we get there, I will float the idea that I'd put the episode 4 audio drama ahead of the actual movie.
Yes, 100%.
That I can agree with. I need to listen to those properly. I only kind of vaguely listened to the beginning of the first one.
I haven't listened to them either, so that's one of the.
Please do. They are essential.
Yeah,
like those should be included.
Yeah, Empire Strikes Back: Return of the Jedi, to a degree, you could also argue, but the one for A New Hope, holy doolies! I think I was actually telling you before. The first hour of that audio drama is just all prior to the movie. It's just all backstory.
Yeah.
It's Leia actually obtaining the plans in the first place. It's Luke living on Tatooine with his friends. It's all prior. But even once the movie itself starts, or once that particular part of the timeline starts, it just adds so many extra scenes and characters and nuance that you just don't get in the movie. So it's fantastic.
Right.
I think it's
and it doesn't
that's also
contradict
why
anything.
I like
it just expands it all and makes it so much better.
Yeah.
Right. That's also the way I feel about the Attack of the Clones novelization.
Yeah.
Because it blows it up, and it makes everything is so much cleaner, and it makes so much more sense.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway,
it takes a boring movie and makes it into a good book.
Yeah.
Well, it's one of those ones.
It really does. It really does.
When people always say the book was better than the movie, it's like, yeah, well, this is despite the fact that they were released almost concurrently. I'm actually pretty sure the episode 2 and episode 3 novels were released prior, because I remember
they were released ahead of schedule. They were released before the movies. They were.
Yeah. Well, the episode 3 one I actually read before I watched it, so.
Yeah.
There we go.
I'm sure you were disappointed by the movie then.
I'm sure you would.
I can't imagine reading that and then watching.
Right. Like, oh man. If I read it first, I would have probably cried.
Yeah, I would have hated Revenge of the Sith if I had read the book first.
Seriously.
See, I'm trying to run maths in my head. I think I was only about 17 or something at the time, so for me, I was still happy enough with that final lightsaber duel was probably enough to recoup any other ill feelings I might have had.
That is a good point. That is a good point when you go there.
Like, I still left the cinema going, that was cool, because that whole lightsaber duel was just amazing. But yeah, probably in retrospect, I would have gone, oh. But no, I left with a good feeling.
Yeah, take the good feeling.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
the only thing I really have between Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones, other than the Republic comics, which you've already touched on, is the Clone Wars micro series.
Well, before we get to the Clone Wars micro series,
hold on. So I have one thing in between. Well, besides Jedi Quest, which I do still consider that kind of vital. Between the two movies, the only other thing I have, I do have one thing, but I'm kind of thinking that's not really right.
I mixed up.
I do have that in there, but Outbound Flight is what I'm thinking of.
Outbound Flight, yes, that's what I'm into. Yes.
No, fair enough, actually.
Rogue Planet is the one that I'm like,
I hate Rogue Planet. I have never finished it. I'm never finishing it. It's bad.
Rogue Planet is only necessary if you're not Cam and actually consider the New Jedi Order essential.
Essential. Yes. If you do consider that essential, you probably should read Rogue Planet.
Right.
I don't think you should read either one. Ever.
You just don't like the entire New Jedi Order era. You just don't like it.
I don't hate it, but it's so long and drawn out and poorly written.
Well, you don't like the Darkness trilogy, which is the end of that era, and
yes, which is long and drawn out and horribly written.
So I do see we're including Jedi Apprentice, so it would make a lot of sense to have the through line of Jedi Quest in there.
Yeah.
Right. That's why I consider that as well, because it's good to get a bit more of Anakin in between. Because if you don't have that in between of Anakin, you're not really getting I want to like Anakin, and that's the reason, at least somewhat, and that's the reason that I consider the Jedi Quest series to be vital, because even in the Republic comics that take place in between, there's not a lot of Anakin and Obi-Wan in those. No. Most of what's in between there is surrounding other characters like Quinlan Voss, Ayla Secura. They seem to be very heavy throughout the Republic comics. Even in the Clone Wars, they're they're half. Well, Quinn is like half anyway.
Yeah. Well, the Jedi Quest comic offers not much. That's the other problem too. Is it's basically just pulled straight from the book. So,
right.
See, I have never read Jedi Apprentice, Jedi Quest, stuff like that. So I don't know. It could be.
I think I read one Jedi Quest book.
Never read them.
When I was originally thinking of it, I didn't really include Jedi Quest as essential. Mainly because I'm like, it follows Anakin's growth more, which I guess makes sense if you're looking at it from the generation side of it's the parents and the children. But it doesn't really cover anything I would say is huge events in the whole timeline. Apart from you're following that, this is how one of the Jedi Council members died and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Or like what Jeff was saying with the whole way Lucas saw it with you follow the generations of Anakin, Luke, and the grandchildren. If you're following that as essential, then absolutely it's essential.
It's probably one of the more essential things to date because it's following the father.
Yeah.
Right. Then obviously we get to Attack of the Clones, which again I consider to be I would argue it's the most essential of the prequel novelizations. That and Revenge of the Sith, I would consider those to be the two most essential. The Phantom Menace, it's not necessary as much, but you do get a good little bit of lore dump in there that's kind of helpful.
It's a little better than the movie.
It is. You're in Qui-Gon and Padme's heads a lot, which I like.
And I guess if you're looking at this as a bit of a reading order for the EU, you've got the connection between Cloak of Deception, Phantom Menace, Jedi Quest, and then Attack of the Clones.
And it's a very linear structure.
Yeah, you definitely get that. And then with Attack of the Clones.
And Jedi Apprentice ends perfectly dovetailing into Phantom Menace as well, so...
It does, especially with how, there's also the young readers Phantom Menace, which I don't consider that essential, but the way that works, it very much pulls from the Jedi Apprentice concepts. Because when she wrote those, that was Jedi Apprentice was towards the end of its run when she wrote it, and pretty much she pulled a little bit of information from that, but most of what she did was just kind of abridge the Phantom Menace novelization, which she did a very good job with. I forget her name. Who did that? I think she did all three of the prequel young readers.
I want to say Patricia Jackson
novels.
I want to say Jude Watson. Patricia Jackson or Jude Watson?
Jude Watson did Jedi Apprentice, so...
Yeah, so it would have been... so it would have been Patricia Jackson. That sounds right. But she did... But she was... I think she's friends with Jude.
That makes sense, so yeah. A lot of the authors early on discussed things with each other and coordinated, which was cool.
Well, it shows.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it does. It does. So after Attack of the Clones, obviously the Republic Comics Clone Wars arc.
Yeah.
I did separate out the Star Wars Jedi one-shots because I wasn't sure whether they're considered a part of that or not. Even though they kind of are.
Not, but I think they were reprinted in some of the Omnis alongside them anyway.
Yeah, they're put into all of the collections. They're thrown into the collections, and it doesn't make sense because if you don't have Count Dooku, you have no idea why Quinlan Voss is working for him. You have no clue why. Yeah. Like you're totally lost if you do that. Anyway, so then I have Shatterpoint.
Okay.
I have considered that essential.
Shatterpoint?
Yeah.
Do I have Shatterpoint? Let me see here.
I pretty much have none of the Clone Wars multimedia project other than the micro series.
Also, did we talk about why Outbound Flight was essential? Because I don't think we did.
I don't think we did.
Yeah, sorry. Let's hop back to Outbound Flight. So I consider Outbound Flight essential.
That also means Mist Encounter, by the way, for anyone who had Mist Encounter on the list. That's where this
is. Yes. I do include Mist Encounter. So Outbound Flight is essential because it introduces Thrawn as into the story. It introduces the the reasoning. It gives a little bit of reasoning. It does kind of foreshadow because if you're even if you're not including Rogue Planet, it does foreshadow the Yuuzhan Vong, which you still they're referenced a lot. So even if you don't include the New Jedi Order, there's still a lot of reference to it. They come up again.
Have the Vong.
Right. Yeah. They're so vital. Like you can't not have them.
Yeah, for me, it does that. It sets up the Thrawn trilogy, which is absolutely essential
in a lot to especially Joruus.
Joruus C'baoth. You've got the whole Palpatine's plan of why is he militarizing the galaxy so much? Why is he building up all these armaments? It's because of this war that Thrawn told him about that's going to happen.
Right. It kind of establishes and makes things a bit clearer than they were beforehand. But so that's why we're including Outbound Flight. Shatterpoint, the reason I consider Shatterpoint essential is because you get an aspect of the Clone Wars, you get to really see how this does affect the society at large, even on a planet that isn't really affected too much by the Clone Wars overall, and they're barely part of the Republic. And you get a real sense of you and it also you understand why Depa is no longer on the council in episode 3. That's made clear in that because she doesn't even die. She's literally stuck in a meditation chamber from this point forward. So she's in there for a year and a half or 2 years. Yeah, 2 years. She's in there for 2 years, which is crazy. But so that's why I consider it essential. You get a bit of you find out a little bit more about some things about the way that the Jedi are dealing with the war itself. You get a way
I think this is fair,
you see how they're kind of develop, how they're grappling with this. We've been keepers of the peace for 1,000 years here, and now all of a sudden we're having to be warriors.
Yeah.
So I didn't have this on my list, but I think it should have been now that you're talking about this because it goes into the mental trauma and the mental toll of the war on the Jedi. It showcases that the Clone War was not just fought between clones and battle droids. There were local militia, which is something that gets completely glossed over in almost everything.
Yeah.
Right. Even the comics don't really show it a whole lot. I mean, obviously there's Jabeam and a couple of others, but most of the arcs, it's clones versus droids.
I think that's important. And then it also ties into the Revenge of the Sith novelization because of the concept of Shatterpoints, where Windu realizes that, that Anakin and Palpatine, that moment right there in the office, that's the Shatterpoint for the Republic and the Jedi and everything. And so this kind of explains the whole concept of Shatterpoints, I guess you would say.
Which you kind of get the idea of it a little bit in Revenge of the Sith, but it's not nearly as clear as in Shatterpoint.
Yeah, and if you're following this story chronologically, going through, okay, this is the essentials, I'll read through them in order, then you only get context on Shatterpoint in a lot later novels post Return of the Jedi otherwise.
Yeah. So then the next two things I have are Jedi Trial and Labyrinth of Evil.
Labyrinth of Evil, 100%.
I think
I do have
we
Labyrinth.
can have all of the Dark Lord trilogy in there.
Yes.
Yeah, which
That's
I
what is on
have.
mine,
I
the
just
Dark
have them
Lord
broken
trilogy.
up. A little bit. I mean, I've got it's pretty much Labyrinth of Evil, Revenge of the Sith, and then I have Kenobi, and then Rise of Darth Vader.
The only thing is, though, is I'm wondering if showing the impact of the war on people who aren't just the main core Jedi, would the MedStar trilogy kind of fit in there as well?
I was thinking of that.
It's not essential at all. It's not essential.
You could include the MedStar the MedStar books, maybe.
And I guess
I didn't include them, but
also depends if you tend to include any of the other Reeveverse books.
I do have all of the Coruscant Nights books on my thing.
I do have those.
It would make sense to include the whole Reeveverse if we're going to do that. So that goes back to Maul Shadowhunter. That adds in MedStar. That adds in Coruscant Nights, Death Star. Is that it?
Well, certainly for the core Reeves novels that we're going to be looking at.
The core ones,
Yeah, that would make sense. We could include MedStar. I don't mind adding that in.
Because that was great at showing. They're also highlighting Terrace Cassian part of it.
Yeah,
and all that
that's fair. That's fair.
Clears up the misconceptions of TCW about Barra Sophia as well.
Right.
And you also get a lot of it from the perspective of Jedi Healer is the title of the first one, guys. With seeing from the side of the war of someone that was trying not to be a warrior and combatant that was just going in a full support role.
Yeah.
And so they are fighting... They're fighting organics on that planet, too. They're not fighting battle droids.
Yeah.
So...
Yeah, so you get a bit more, it's not just droids that they're fighting. You get some real people.
Oh, and the concept of Boda as well, which pops up in the Coruscant Night stuff. If you don't really know what the heck Boda is.
That's the main reason why I'd say include that because of the Reeveverse, because that's a big through line throughout all of them.
Yeah, well, that makes sense. Well, I mean, I'm very happy to include those, for sure.
Yeah. So I guess we're
and they're just good.
Yeah.
So
as far as my interpretation of seeing the main events of the era, that goes into a little bit more of seeing some of the details and the nitty gritty of the war compared to what I was thinking originally. I think that's a good way to do it because it was a bit like so I'm going to leave out the whole multimedia project, am I?
Well, see, this still is going to be our overarching problem until the end of this particular episode of the podcast, is that some things are essential because it covers the Skywalkers and the Solos.
Right.
And then some things are essential because they absolutely don't. And that's actually really essential that they don't cover it. And that's already, that's everything. Everything is either Skywalker-centric or it's not.
Yeah.
And Skywalker-centric stuff is important because that's what the overarching thing is, but non-Skywalker-centric stuff is important because it shows what was happening in the galaxy around them. So you end up adding everything real quick.
You do end up with a lot. Yeah, so we've got Shatterpoint, the MedStar trilogy, Jedi Trial, and Labyrinth and Duology. Sorry, I don't know why I put trilogy. And then Labyrinth of Evil, and then we get to the Revenge of the Sith.
I do have the Clone Wars micro series in there because when I was
sorry, I skipped over the micro series. Yeah,
yes,
I have that. I have that after. I have that before Shatterpoint. But I would say that the micro series is essential. You get a bit of what the Clone Wars were like, and it's kind of bolstered by the comics, and a little bit by these books that we've included here. I think that Jedi Trial. I think that Jedi Trial is very essential simply because of it.
Of course, because you've got the whole thing of Anakin being knighted through the time and that, so that follows through from following Anakin's main story from the Jedi Quest series and that.
My notes
and
on
Labyrinth
that.
of Evil. Say what you're saying, Cam.
Oh, So my notes on the animated Clone Wars show is the 03 one, of course, is that you get like Anakin Scar, the whole thing like with Asajj Ventress. You have Anakin's knighthood, like how that progresses. You get to see him on that weird planet where he has the blue tattoos and he sees his future. And yeah. And you, like you said, Ethan, like the war progressing, little snippets of it here and there. It sets up who Commander Cody is in Revenge of the Sith, because why should we care about this character? And also because George Lucas literally meant it to be the bridge between 2 and 3. Like it was really you're supposed to watch that. Yeah,
for sure.
Which is why I still don't get why they made the 08 one.
Well, even if you look into it, it wasn't supposed to be different. It was supposed to be more of a continuation type thing.
It was really supposed to be what's happening in between volumes 1 and 2. That was kind of the idea.
Yeah,
but
because even when you watched the episode, which I don't know why I did, I must have been very bored. I watched episode 3 with the commentary on. And Lucas refers back to the micro series a lot in terms of
he does he does do that. It's been a while since I've watched it with that, but he does refer to it quite a bit. Yeah,
that's good.
So Labyrinth of Evil. Does anyone like I included it? I have not read this one. But I've included it because I've heard it's really important and kind of helpful to understand Revenge of the Sith a little bit. So, what do you guys think?
It's been so long since I read it, but I include them generally because, like, if we're including Cloak of Deception to enhance our understanding of the Phantom Menace, then the Labyrinth of Evil does the same sort of thing with Revenge of the Sith.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and then Dark Lord, the Rise of Darth Vader, on the other side of that, enhances the ending of Revenge of the Sith.
Yeah.
Right. And that one I have.
That idea of Order 66 and expanding upon it.
That one
I have read.
I have two other things for the Clone Wars era as well.
Okay. Oh, you do? Okay.
I think too is that that novel as well. Like it links up to episode 3 because it's Patinamodia, that thing, that they actually reference in the film, but just trying to work out who Sidious is and that whole kind of it's I'd definitely say it's incredibly essential. But that's the Dark Lord trilogy. It's incredibly essential. It's probably the way to put it.
Yeah.
So the other thing
you'd almost kick out.
Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say you'd almost kick out everything else around it. To be perfectly honest, like if you've just if you just gone with the Clone Wars as its own separate entity. Episode 3, if you just went the Dark Lord trilogy, you could go home. That'd cover it.
That's true.
That's kind of how essential it is.
Yeah.
You start on one end with the Clone Wars wrapping up, and you end up at the other end with Darth Vader being Darth Vader, and that's just that whole era. Let's look back.
Yeah, it's his arc.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And for context for people that may not know, Labyrinth of Evil, the Revenge of the Sith novel, and Dark Lord, the Rise of Darth Vader were reprinted in a single omnibus titled the Dark Lord Trilogy.
So I see this one. I don't know if it's technically Clone Wars era because it spans so long, and that would be the Star Wars Battlefront 2 campaign. I feel like that's essential because it follows the progress of the 501st. You get to see how the clone troopers felt about the rise of the Empire, about like you get actual Order 66 through that lens rather than the stupid brain chip garbage that Filoni did. And I don't know, it just feels like you really get to see the galaxy change, but through the lens of the victors.
Yeah,
right.
I mean, you could throw in Republic Commando for very similar, like that series for similar reasons.
I had that as a possibility as well.
I had that as an alternate. I wasn't sure whether to include that one.
Yeah. My Republic Commando notes say that it showcases the inner workings of the Grand Army of the Republic. You get Mandola culture. You get to see the darker side of the conflict of the Clone War, the Jedi wrangling with that. Yep, you've got the fallout of it. You've got the reorganization of the Republic into the Empire. You get to see what the planet Mandalore is up to during the time period.
What it's actually up to.
Yes. Not the TCW garbage. No. And these things pop up in later series too. Like you have Boba Fett eventually becoming the Mandalore. All the stuff in that really draws back to this period. And like just how essential the Mandalorians were in the galaxy as a large.
Right.
And not all dead.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're just dead.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, yeah. Because you start ending up with these arguments for what's essential based on you're seeing it from this point of view, and you're getting a grasp on different perspectives on some of the similar events, which is the part where I'm like,
Which, as I've been saying the whole time, that's why essential, even though you've given it some pretty good parameters, the idea of essential is so whimsical because it's all essential in some way. Either any given work might not add anything to the overall story, but my God, it's written well, or something might link somewhere else, or just be like we're gonna move on to it in a sec. But like with the Han Solo trilogy, while it's not necessarily that essential in terms of the overall arc of the galaxy, it's very essential to Han Solo as a character. But then, how far down the rabbit hole do you start to go? And then you say with the Han Solo adventures, again, the Han Solo adventures aren't a particularly important thing in terms of overarching lore, but the way that they fit in to the Han Solo trilogy written later is an absolute piece of art, which even not as a Star Wars thing, just in general, just in terms of writing fiction, is so well done that I'd say it's essential as a piece of writing, if you were to study writing. So, what we call essential is just going to go all over the shop and encompass most of it.
Yeah, just all of the Clone Wars multimedia project. Let's go.
The original one.
Well, one of the next ones I was about to bump into, and I say Han Solo because that was close next to my list, but I mean the next one that I put on my list would be Kenobi for similar reasons. Just a fantastically written story, and as a to focus on one character, it doesn't only focus on Kenobi, obviously, but to put a lens on Kenobi so heavily, and everything that's come after. Is absolute fantastic bit of writing, but he's removed himself from the galaxy. He's removed himself from the ongoing conflicts and the Empire and everything. And he's now in the middle of absolute nowhere, where this adds nothing. In terms of overarching, he doesn't even know what the Empire's doing.
Yeah, see, because that's why I didn't add it, because I was like, that's a great character study. I love Kenobi, but it doesn't add anything.
Nothing.
Yeah.
Well, it does add a little bit of context into Tatooine a little bit and what's going on with Tatooine during the start of the Empire Rising. Now, obviously, Tatooine's not terribly affected. Even in Kenobi, it's not. But you do get the sense of like what Ben is doing, what he's trying to see himself as, how he's trying to live his life. How does he go from Obi-Wan Kenobi to old Ben Kenobi, the weird hermit who lives on the edge of the Dune Sea?
I just thought he lived in the Dune Sea for like 30 years.
Right.
But he was also the only one that really cared, is the other thing too. Like he kept on going into Anchorhead or Bestina, wherever it was, to try and catch up on the galactic news. But going back out where he was, no one else mentioned anything to do with Clone Wars or Imperials. They were so far removed. It was Tusken Raiders in the water.
Yeah, there's farmers out in the desert that are fighting off the natives. Like they got bigger fish to fry.
And their planet's controlled by a criminal. Like
that supports A New Hope, where it's like, this is the brightest center from brightest further center from the brightest corner of the galaxy. Oh man, I flubbed the quote, but
if there's a bright center of the universe, you're on the planet that is farthest from.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah,
and so their problems are so immediate in that too, compared to that.
And the only other thing that's probably very small, but it does actually combat two things that keep rising up in terms of continuity that I hear casuals carrying on about. And one of them is, how does Obi-Wan look so old in Episode 4 when it's only been, so long? And Obi-Wan very deliberately, halfway through the book, realised that the sun is damaging his skin something fierce and just flaps the hood back to stare directly into the sun because it'll change his appearance so much.
Yeah.
And then the other one is like, why didn't he change his name? Like Obi-Wan Kenobi going to Ben Kenobi. Well, it's still Kenobi. Vader will still find him. But when he presents himself as Ben Kenobi, even the locals are like, oh, you related to Bob Kenobi? Oh, was it the Kenobis over in Anchorhead? Actually, it was the Kenobi family. Kenobi's such a common name.
Yeah.
That he's just disappeared into the...
that we never see any other Kenobis, though.
Apart from that one mention. Yeah.
And it's a bit like keeping the Skywalker name. It's like, he's supposed to be very common, but we don't see any others.
I think
it would be nice to just have them pop up, just a couple of random Kenobis.
I think from an author perspective, though, it would never ever work, because let's just say you're reading the MedStar duology, and some doctor turned up and it was Dr. Kenobi. The fans would never shut up. We'd still be here 30 years later going, but is that actually a Kenobi? Is that Obi-Wan's brother? Like, you'd never hear the end of it.
Owen was bad enough with that.
Yeah.
It would only be Obi-Wan's brother if his name was Dr. Owen Kenobi.
Yeah, Owen Kenobi. But, if you're going to call a character Solo or Skywalker or Kenobi, God help you, they better be related, because if they're not, you'll spend the rest of your life fighting off rabid fans that are trying to say, did you mean something? But no, I didn't mean anything by that. He's just called Kenobi. Can we move on? You struggle. So I can see why.
Oh, I know. I get it too, but it's just like there's that little part of me that's just like, I'd like just a random Skywalker who's like Shmi's fifth cousin.
Yeah. We're on the fence.
Yeah, and then obviously we already said the rise of Darth Vader, and then we did mention Missed Encounter. Do we want to go into that, or are we okay leaving it as it is?
I mean, I like going into it only because it the only reason I really like Missed Encounter is it actually shows Thrawn to be really, really effective as a ground troop as well, like as an actual operative, because it's really easy to say, he's a good admiral, he's good with
strategy and
like telling everyone else what to do. Yeah, well, he's good with main battle strategy and that kind of thing. But to know that you can take this man who is wonderful at whole armadas and you can just drop him in the jungle with a stick and he'll still come out on top is like, he is definitely someone to be
like I love that story. I love the story because like he pretty much takes out like a whole squad of stormtroopers, which are really clone troopers. And then he sneaks onto a shuttle. He sneaks onto the shuttle. He doesn't even he got himself in there because he needed to get off that planet.
Let me tell you how essential of a story this is, guys.
Oh, man.
It is so essential that Disney, word for word, rewrote the story as the first chapter of their first Thrawn trilogy book.
I did hear this,
Oh, my God.
And it's the same damn story the whole way through. And it fixes the dated issues of like they're not stormtroopers, they're clones, they're things like that. It's not a Imperial Star Destroyer, it's a Venator Star Destroyer. All this stuff. There's not TIE fighters, there's V-wings, whatever. So it's just
simple adjustments.
Yeah, simple adjustment, updated versions from the POV of an Imperial ensign that's on the ground during it going like, oh my God, we're all gonna die.
I love that.
That's how essential it is. It's so essential that Disney kept it.
Well, that's Timothy Zahn though. Like he was trying to bridge the universes as much as possible when they were letting him write. Now they won't let him write anymore. Well, I don't know if they're not letting him write more, or if he's not willing to write anymore. I don't know which it is.
I don't want him to write anymore.
I don't think he would
honestly,
be
I don't
unwilling
want him
to
to
write,
either.
given the history. After Missing Counters, what do you guys have?
So, I continue with the dark. I mean, I list the Dark Times comics separately here.
Yes, I have those as well.
Even though they're technically Republic, but they are. It's like the next.
Change the name, so.
Yeah. Then I have the Dark Times, which again I consider them pretty much essential. And then I have the Coruscant Knights.
Do you put Purge in there as well?
The what?
Would you put Purge in there as well?
That's what I was
Purge,
thinking of.
I don't have Purge. Yeah, I didn't think
Purge
about
should
that.
be if we're including Dark Times.
I mean, I kind of thought of Purge as part of Dark Times when I put this down. So I don't know. Are they really separate?
Yeah,
are they really separate?
They are separate comic runs.
Okay. Technically. Yeah, I guess they are.
Yeah.
Well, they share a lot of similar writers. That's why I wasn't sure.
They've both got Vader in them. I think we can say that. They've both got Vader in them.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll just put Jedi Purge, or is it Purge or Jedi Purge comics?
Purge.
It was Purge, but then there was also, because I had Purge, Seconds to Die, whatever it was, but usually most people know it because it's all bundled into one trade paperback. I don't know if I've actually seen single issues of Purge, despite the fact that
I've seen digital copies, but I haven't seen them in person.
I think it was very limited as for individuals, and then they started just then they put out the trade paperback graphic novel, which just bundled it all together. It was quicker, it was quicker to do because it's not a terribly long run, and
it all fits into one trade paperback.
Same with Dark Times. Dark Times does too. It's very concise. It fits in there very well. So I didn't think of them as separate. I was thinking of them as, I don't know why I thought of them as together. But then again, thinking of Republic comics, the number of storylines that are in the Republic comics that aren't cohesive from issue to issue.
Or sometimes they just have that one-off, despite the fact that it is a numbered issue of Republic. It's a one-shot story.
Or this story overlaps with the story over here. It's just
that problem.
So much.
Yeah.
So Dark Times gives a great review on how the galaxy is when the Empire runs it, basically.
It shows you that turnover from the Republic to the Empire. It shows the Jedi Purge that we hear about. You have Order 66, but obviously that wouldn't have killed all the Jedi.
Right.
It delves into that, and same thing with the Purge comics, and then that goes into Coruscant Knights as well. You see the Jedi Purge from that perspective, and
which is why I included that.
Yeah,
right.
And
I also
to note, you also tend to have to finish that with The Last Jedi, which technically isn't part of the trilogy, but it is the ending of the story.
Yes,
it's really the fourth book. It's really the fourth book of the Coruscant Knights.
Yes, I didn't write that down because in my brain it's a series, not a trilogy.
And
it's all part
for
of it,
anyone that doesn't know, that is a 2013 novel by Michael Reeves and Maya Catherine Bonhoff.
Amen.
There you go.
and so it
is also a Marvel era comic.
Yeah.
That's true.
That's
true.
Issue 49 of the classic Marvel run and part 3 of Star Wars, according to the droids, are all titled The Last Jedi as well.
And then there's also that young reader series that's called The Last of the Jedi.
I did forget about the young reader series, but I would not call that essential.
But The Last of the Jedi, I would say, does have some crossover with Kenobi because it touches on
a little
in some parts of it. Since we mentioned Kenobi a decent bit.
But so then not only is Coruscant Knights important because of the Purge, it's also important because you get the formation of the Inquisition. You get to see those Jedi hunters.
The Imperial Inquisition.
Right, because they get mentioned in all of this like weird, obscure reference stuff and RPG supplements and things like that. This is like, I think, their only novel appearance.
Yeah.
It's also the only appearance of a Grey Paladin that I know of.
That's true. I didn't even put that.
Yeah.
And it has the great retcon for TCW's stupid Night Sisters garbage.
And we do like retcons for that.
Yeah. And it was like, honestly, it was a retcon that worked too. Like, it wasn't even like a bad retcon, like the Plagueis retcons where it was like, sure, whatever. This was just like, oh yeah, they're a different group. Okay, cool. Moving on. Oh, okay.
that tracks. That's a much better explanation. Okay. So after The Last Jedi, does anyone have anything before the Han Solo books?
Well, I actually went straight to the Rebellion comic run after the Revenge of the Sith stuff, so it's interesting.
I skipped. For some reason, I didn't include the Rebellion comic run for some strange reason. But yes, that should be in there.
Empire.
I would say against the Rebellion comic run being essential is it does shoot off into a lot more one-shot stories in its issues. Story arcs about different characters that are not as much.
I did not include the Rebellion.
There's a Boba Fett one. I forget what it's called, but there's an entire issue, despite it being a numbered issue. It's a one-shot Boba Fett that, from every moment since, has been included in Boba Fett omnibuses and Boba Fett trade paperbacks. Like, it's never been published as part of the Republic ever again. And you think, what happened there? I don't understand.
Yeah. So yeah, I do have the Empire comics on my list, which for some reason I have at the end. I don't know why I have them at the end. Of my
Empire comics at the start of the. Oh yeah, it's Rise of Empire. I think I forgot to write them down, but I was thinking of this as well. So I would say, for some reason I have them at the end of the Rise of the Empire era. I don't know why. Yeah, they should be just
before
after, Dark Lord, because that's where it sort of started after Revenge of the Sith.
That is true. I don't know why I have it. I think I stuck it there because I wasn't sure where to put it. So it's just at the bottom. Let's see. Then I have the Han Solo books. Mainly the Han Solo trilogy.
Yes.
I wasn't sure whether or not we need adventures.
Well, like I said, from a writing perspective, I definitely would, because I just love how they did it. But there's not an awful lot in adventures that is neither here nor there when it comes to Han Solo's actual development. Like, it is very much the Han Solo we know by the time we get to adventures.
Yeah.
But for the first two books of the Han Solo trilogy, it's a lot of character building, it's a lot of backstory, it's a lot of how this is why he is the way he is. So the Han Solo trilogy is far more important.
I noted the Rebel Dawn because of the Death Star plans, but I wasn't sure in my own mind whether I would go to the other books, depending. But you kind of need that to fill in his backstory as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
Despite me saying no on Kenobi being a character study, I'm saying yes on Han Solo trilogy as a character study. Because he's so much more essential than Obi-Wan Kenobi is.
I'd also probably argue for your sake is that whereas Kenobi was a character study where the character was taken out of the main galaxy, the Han Solo as a character study, it's him in the galaxy. Like, we get a really good idea of what the Corellian sector's like, the smugglers, like how they operate, how the Imperials are cracking down. Like, you get a lot of actual lore that's based on the galaxy.
First-hand Imperial Academy perspective.
Right.
You do get that.
So it's a lot more grounded in the galaxy.
And you also get like how Hutts operate as well, with the different
you do.
Whatever they call them, like what is that term? It starts with a K. That they call their little, like, their groups, their clans, but they're the.
It's clan, but spelled with a K.
No.
Kadijik.
Kadijik, yeah, like Kadijik.
Kajik, yeah, sorry, Kajik.
Yeah, whatever. I can't pronounce it. I'm a redneck.
We also get a wonderful insight into how huts reproduce.
That's
a little bit, yeah.
That has been reinforced on multiple occasions.
Yeah.
For example, Karen Travis writing the novelization for the TCW movie.
Yep.
Talks about it. I remember that detail.
I can't believe that novel.
I'm glad I never read that. Oh my god.
Yeah.
It's ironic.
The TCW novel is actually really good. Like it's
really.
She did a lot to make it better.
Yeah, yeah. It's like it takes the story of that, and you go, okay, this actually seems plausible in the EU, other than Anakin having an apprentice for real at the end of it. Like if you just took the ending out, or changed the ending.
Okay. Yeah.
Well,
honestly,
even not essential. Yeah, not essential.
No, definitely not essential. Definitely not essential. Then I don't really have anything. I do have the Force Unleashed, because it's the establishment of the rebellion as a form of
novel.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Novelization.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. I put the novel by Sean Williams. Yes, that's what I put down. I did not put the game because while I love the game actually can be the game has like 3 different versions, and each one has a side stuff
of the
that
story because I have different levels. And people's misconceptions come from just playing the game and not reading the more grounded story of the novel and stuff.
Right. That too.
If I had to pick
I've never understood those misconceptions before you go on. Why is this the only game where people have those misconceptions? Like, you can play Battlefront, and you'll play as, like, I don't know, Han Solo, for instance. You can run along, cop a whole bunch of shots. You can cop a lightsaber to the face, and, like, you only lose a bit of health. That would obviously be a character that's overpowered. And that would happen in the Old Republic. Like, you've got so many health points. Like, a lightsaber goes through your body, you lose a few health points, you keep fighting. Usually kind of fatal. For some odd reason in games, we've been willing to accept that people can do things a bit stronger, a bit more powerful. But yet when it comes to this game, they're like, oh, well, Starkiller can just kill 8 stormtroopers at once. He's too powerful. Like, well, it's a game.
He pulled a Star Destroyer down. He's too powerful. It's like, what?
Yeah, that's the game.
Here's the thing. It only looks like he's pulling that. He's only pulling the Star Destroyer down in gameplay. If you actually pay attention to the story that the game is telling you, it's quite clear that Star Destroyer is falling already.
It's coming down.
He's just guiding it so that it doesn't kill people when it crashes, which is much clearer in the Wii and PS2 versions for some reason.
Those are the primary versions that I know because I first played the PS2 version.
I played the PS2 version. That's the only one I've really played. I played a little bit of the Xbox version.
I played the Wii version, and then I got the PC version, and I'm killing myself on that level repeatedly.
It's notable that the Nintendo Switch version is the Wii version ported.
Oh yeah,
and it's also weird
if I had to pick, what?
Oh, I was gonna say it's also weird to me too that in terms of massive feats of the Force in the expanded universe, it wouldn't even make top 10.
Yeah.
Like as you said,
no.
he's got down a crippled Star Destroyer, like Dorf 81 or whatever. Yeah, when he like, they fired an entire fleet of Star Destroyers across the system. Like, you've got Sith that can eat the whole planet. Now, I know they're not eating a whole planet; they're just sucking the life force from it. But you've got some incredible feats, and yet somehow someone just getting a ship that's falling, going a little to the left, is somehow the most powerful thing. Just
this is the other thing. A lot of more people played The Force Unleashed than any other Star Wars game before it.
That's true.
It was the most popular game. You have to remember that when it came out, it was, 2006, 2007? When that game came out? It was very popular. It was one of the most popular games. Yeah. And it had the biggest, it was the most popular game to come out since Shadows of the Empire. Like, it was huge. It was like the first really big Star Wars like Force user game that they came out with that wasn't like that had an entirely original character. The whole story was original. So like that's why. Right.
It wasn't,
right. You're playing like this character and you're playing this character. You're not making choices for this character. You are playing through the game. It's a full on, this is the mission. You got to finish this mission and then get on to the next mission. And so I get that.
And they had a lot of
I will say the one thing that I kind of like better about the Wii and PS2 versions is the times that you go to Coruscant, to the Jedi Temple.
Yes, that's what I was going to bring up, is that I would consider the PS2 / the Wii version the definitive version of the game, because it has the complete story. I liked the going back there to the Jedi Temple to explore
some of the stuff that we really like out of that is not in the novel.
No,
unfortunately.
But you do get some lore.
But I would say that anything in the games that don't contradict the novel probably happens.
Right. That would be the thing too. It's like in cutscenes, especially more than in gameplay.
Right.
I fully believe that Starkiller was regularly going to the Jedi Temple.
It made so much sense to me that Vader would be like, "Okay, I'll test you multiple times going to the Jedi Temple."
Right. Maybe not in the way that it's done in the game. It might have actually been before the actual story of the game. And to be honest, I kind of believe that. I kind of think that. I just think that they added those into randomly in the game just for game purposes. But I can totally see him.
The context. It just that happened.
Yeah.
I totally believe that happened. Like it's like Darth Desolus, Darth Phobos. Those characters are very clearly like significant. I think they're new. I think they're
named.
Oh, horrible name. Horribly named. Especially Phobos. Like, that's a horrible Sith name. Like, come on.
There's some pretty bad ones. There's some pretty bad ones out there. Look, at least we didn't get Darth Icky, okay? We didn't get Darth Icky, so we can all be happy with that.
Desolus wasn't too bad. It could have been a better name, but it wasn't
I can
bad.
see that being a Wookiee Sith being Darth Icky and his Icky Chook or something.
Yes. Holiday Special 2 coming to theaters near you.
Yes.
Cal showed me that. Oh, man.
Ethan had never watched the Holiday Special before, and we watched it on Saturday.
That was
the Holiday Special.
Poor soul.
That was so horrible. I still haven't processed it.
It's
been 2 days. It's been 2 days and I still haven't fully processed it.
It's the height of classic art, that one.
It's bad.
My wife was watching too. She didn't finish.
I wouldn't have either if I was her. She's not in Star Wars. Screw that.
So the Star Wars Holiday Special is essential.
It's essential.
No, God, no. It is the most non-essential piece of screen media that Star Wars has.
No, it's essential. It's our first view of Boba Fett. We get to see how people were living under the Empire. We get to see inside a Wookiee house in Kashyyyk. Never get to see that again. It's very essential.
Yeah.
It's also
it's the only on-screen depiction of Life Day. It is absolutely essential on so many points. We get religion. It's all there.
You also get the only on-screen depiction of like pornography of
that is true.
The VR.
That is true. That is.
And in the Tatooine segment, I pointed out that it's the first appearance of a Deshard, which is later picked up on in Star Wars Republic.
Unfortunately, that is true.
Are we going to have to actually include this?
It's the only on-screen look at Chewie's family. I don't think we can possibly.
That's true.
Yeah.
That is true. It does establish Chewie's family, which they are included in further EU stories.
Yeah.
So
Also, the only time we see
building.
the only time we see the HoloNet like TV shows in action.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
That is true.
Hey,
that is
explains
true.
the droids and Ewoks cartoons.
Right.
Honestly, considering they're done in the same artwork.
Yeah, that was the same animation studio that did it.
Like,
I'm mad. I am mad that this thing is essential. I'm so angry.
Like, we didn't even want to go there, but now we have to.
Oh, it's essential.
We haven't even gotten to A New Hope.
No,
We haven't even gotten there yet.
we went on a side tangent and then found out that the holiday special is essential.
Yeah, so I mean, so we haven't even officially gotten to the rebellion.
But
so
technically, because the Force Unleashed establishes the rebellion, that's where I start the rebellion.
right.
Huge thanks for hanging out in the brightest center in the galaxy. If you want to hear more, make sure to follow on the platform of your preference, which can be Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or YouTube currently. I'm your host Callum, and this has been the Callum's Cantina podcast. And remember, the films are just the beginning. The expanded universe is where the galaxy truly grows into its own. So see you next time when you visit the Cantina.